Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The Danish Environment and Food Appeals Committee has revoked the environmental permit for the Baltic Pipe, a pipeline that is to carry natural gas from Norway via Denmark to Poland. The committee revoked the environmental permit issued in 2019 by the Danish Environmental Protection Agency. The case is to be re-examined by the Danish agency. The committee justified its decision by arguing that not enough studies had been made on the effect of the construction of the pipeline on breeding sites or resting places of species of mice and bats inhabiting the Danish region. The reason for the Danish authorities' withdrawal of the decision is the claim that not enough was done to investigate the Baltic Pipe's impact on the local environment. The decision will temporarily thwart Polish plans to increase its energy independence from Russia. We are sorry to hear about this decision. When we received the environmental permit for the Baltic Pipe pipeline from the authorities in 2019, it was described that work would continue on a number of measures to ensure good living conditions for certain animals. Since then, we have continued to work on a number of measures to protect animals. However, the appeals board says that all these measures should have been fully explained before the permit was issued. LENAERT is responsible for the Danish section of the pipeline. The company will have to gather new documents related to what has been done to protect certain species of mice and bats that live in the area. LENAERT, together with the Danish authorities, must now make a joint decision on the next steps to be taken. At the moment, however, it is clear that construction will be halted until all necessary permits have been issued. The project consists of a number of elements which are all under construction in Poland within their scheduled plan. Works are underway without any problems in the sections that GYLYS system is responsible for. The Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs has commented on the Danish decision. Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs MARCIN said in an interview with Polish radio that the fastest possible completion of the project is in Poland's and all of Central Europe's interests. The two remaining sections are not affected and are safe. It is in our interest and in the interest of Central Europe for this pipeline to be completed as quickly as possible. We are counting on the goodwill of the Danish government. GYLYS system is responsible for the construction of the Baltic Pipe in Poland. The company has given an assurance that the Danish decision will not delay the works in Poland. The operator adds that it is in a constant contact with LENAERT, which is taking measures to clarify the current situation. Two giant portals sending live video have been erected in the Polish city of Lublin and the Lithuanian capital city Vilnius, through which residents of the two cities can now see each other going about their daily lives in real time. The installation has turned out to be a real hit among the locals. On July the 1st, 1569, the Union of Lublin was signed in Lublin, creating the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth out of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania and the Kingdom of Poland. Vilnius residents waved to their counterparts in Lublin, while people in the eastern Polish city waved back and danced for the camera. The sculpture, named Portals, stands in front of Vilnius's main railway station, while the portal in Poland stands on Lublin's Lithuania Square. They are separated by 415 kilometers. The creator of Portals, Vilnius-based artist BENEDIKTAS GYLYS, said the aim is to break down barriers between different places and cultures, and the project planned to build dozens of such portals around the world.
Basically, we are erasing distances, and Portal is an 11-ton bridge to different cultures, to different countries, and we plan to make dozens of these around the globe, so that you could travel. You could stand close to the portal and you could travel to different cultures in like 3 minutes. 1 minute you are in Bangkok, another minute you are in Lublin, third minute you are somewhere in Chicago, and you are seeing that everyone is basically the same, waving at you, that they are not your strangers, that they are here to support you.
The 24-hour live video from each city is mute, so the only way for passers-by to communicate is via body language. Lublin residents have been coming constantly to see people in Vilnius. Krzysztof Stanowski of the city's International Cooperation Department told Reuters. Vilnius residents said the portal's appearance was positive.
It reminds you of the people who are simply living at this very moment and just struggling by, getting by just as you do. It erases the idea, the illusion of distance, I don't know, something like this. It's good, it's interesting, it's inspiring in a way.
The Union of Lublin, binding Poland and Lithuania together, lasted until the third partition of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in 1795 by Prussia, Russia and Austria. Relatives of thousands of victims of Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin's purges have gathered to pay tribute to them in Kommunarka near Moscow, where a new information centre has been inaugurated at the site of a recently discovered mass burial site. Despite the urge by parts of Russia's political elite to whitewash the crimes committed by the communist regime, relatives of the purge victims expressed the need to find out what happened to their family members more than 80 years ago. The graves containing the remains of thousands of people executed by Stalin's secret police during the Great Terror campaign of the purges were found over the course of 3 years at the Kommunarka shooting ground, a large wooded area southwest of Moscow that contains the bodies of 6,609 people shot by the NKVD secret police in 1937 to 1941, Russia's Gulag Museum said. The find will at last make it possible for relatives, some of whom have been coming to leave flowers for years, to learn where their loved ones lay, said Anna Stadinchuk, a museum spokeswoman. Around 700,000 people were executed during the repressions under Stalin, known as the 1937 to 1938 Great Terror. Millions were sent to the Gulag forced labour camps. These graves were found during the archaeological research together with the Department of Archaeology of Moscow State University. New archaeological methods and tools were used. They had identified the locations and shapes of the graves without excavations and touching the soil. There are burial sites across the country from the period, but many have not been researched to this day. Stalin's harsh rule was renounced 3 years after his death by Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev, but still remains a subject of debate in Russia, where many laud him for the victory in World War II. Visitors to the information centre can read all the research materials, and there is information of all the 6,609 people whose names are written on the memorial. Some of them have portrait photographs. You can see him and read his story. The Gulag Museum had opened an information centre at Kommunarka, which is one of 5 mass burial sites in or near Moscow. The most well known is the Botovo firing range south of the capital. We have found him, Alphonse Ernestovich May, in the execution list. Can you imagine how it was? My mother had no information about him, but she loved him till the end of her life. She remarried just to not be alone. Kommunarka was used to bury political figures from the ruling elite, including people who lived in the house on the embankment, a vast apartment complex built for Stalin's elite, across the Moscow River from the Kremlin. Germany persistently violated European Union limits on air pollution. The European Union's top court has concluded in a ruling that could see the country face financial penalties if it fails to improve air quality in several big cities. The European Union Court of Justice said that from 2010 to 2016, Germany breached the EU's annual limit for nitrogen dioxide pollution in 26 zones, among them Berlin, Stuttgart, Munich, Cologne and Düsseldorf. Stuttgart and Rhine-Main also broke hourly nitrogen dioxide limits in the period, the court ruled. Air pollution in Europe has eased in the last decade, but remains the continent's biggest environmental health risk. Prolonged exposure to dirty air can cause diabetes, lung disease and cancer. Siding with the European Commission that brought the case, the court ruled the German government had failed to adopt measures to ensure compliance with EU air quality rules. Germany must now comply or face further legal action. Since 2016, however, most regions concerned have reined in nitrous dioxide pollution to comply with EU limits, aided by a shift to less polluting cars and local measures like driving bans, speed limits and switching to low-emission buses. In 2020, 6 German cities breached the annual mean limit of 40 micrograms of nitrous dioxide per cubic metre of air, down from 90 cities in 2016, according to government data. Munich and Stuttgart were among those still breaching the law last year. Road transport is the main source of nitrous dioxide emissions, meaning that urban areas tend to be hit the hardest.
Die Bundesrepublik Deutschland.
Germany has been in violation of its obligations according to Article 13, Paragraph 1 of the Guideline 2008/50 of the European Parliament and the European Commission about air pollution and clean air for Europe in connection with its Annex 11. Annual premature deaths attributable to nitrous dioxide emissions in the EU have more than halved since 2009. But still total 54,000 premature deaths in 2018, according to the European Environment Agency. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.